You are already different. Not from your parents, from the version of yourself that existed 10,000 years ago. That version had a larger jaw, bigger teeth designed for harder food, a slightly different skull shape, different disease resistance, different skin pigmentation distribution globally, different tolerance for certain foods. The human body 10,000 years ago was measurably different from yours right now, not dramatically different, measurably different, which means in another 10,000 years, something is going to be different again. The question is what? And the answer that evolutionary biologists and geneticists have arrived at is not what science fiction prepared you for. Not taller, not bigger-brained, not the clean linear progression towards some idealized future version. The actual answer is messier than that, more uncertain, more dependent on choices we are making right now without fully understanding what we are doing. Geneticist John Hawks at the University of Wisconsin-Madison has spent decades studying the rate of human evolution. His research, published in 2007 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, documented something that overturned a widespread assumption. The assumption was that human evolution had essentially stopped, that civilization had insulated us from the selection pressures that drive evolutionary change, that we were biologically frozen in a form that would persist indefinitely. Hawks found the opposite was true. In the last 10,000 years, human evolution has accelerated dramatically, not slowed, accelerated. We have evolved more in the last 10,000 years than in the previous 6 million. The genetic changes documented in the last 10,000 years, number in the hundreds, lactose tolerance, disease resistance, skin pigmentation changes, brain chemistry modifications, all happening faster than at any previous point in the entire history of the human lineage. The reason evolution accelerated is counterintuitive and important. More people means more mutations. More mutations means more variation. More variation means more raw material for natural selection to work with. 10,000 years ago, the human population was approximately 5 million. Today, it is 8 billion. 8 billion people carrying genetic variation. That 5 million never could. The evolutionary engine is not slowing down. Because civilization removed selection pressure, it is accelerating because civilization created entirely new selection pressures. New diseases, new diets, new environments, new social structures, new stressors the ancestral body was never designed to handle. And the body is responding the only way bodies know how to respond, slowly, across generations. Through the differential survival of the variants that handle the new pressures best. Evolution is not waiting for us to figure out what we want to become. But evolution in 10,000 years is not the only force shaping the future human. Evolutionary biologist Sean Carroll at the University of Wisconsin-Madison has documented the second force, the one that operates on a completely different timeline. Technology, specifically the technology we are building right now, that is beginning to interact with human biology directly, CRISPR, gene editing, neural interfaces, synthetic biology, the capacity to modify the human genome deliberately and precisely in ways that natural selection would take thousands of generations to achieve or might never achieve at all. For the first time in 200,000 years, humans are not just subject to evolution, they are beginning to direct it, not randomly, not slowly, deliberately in real time. And nobody has fully mapped what happens when a species starts making conscious decisions about what it wants to become. Physical anthropologist Briana Pobiner at the Smithsonian Institution has studied human physical change across deep evolutionary time. Her research identifies specific physical changes already underway in the current human population. The wisdom teeth are disappearing. Not in everyone, but in increasing percentages of the population. A Mexican study documented that approximately 35% of people already lack one or more wisdom teeth genetically. The jaw is shrinking because the diet has changed. Because the jaw muscle that drove jaw size is no longer under the same selection pressure. That maintained larger jaws for 200,000 years. Softer food, cooked food, processed food, all of it reducing the mechanical demand on a structure that evolution built for a diet that no longer exists. The face is literally changing in response to what we eat. Not dramatically, not visibly within a single lifetime, but measurably across generations. The jaw that chewed mammoth is becoming the jaw that eats everything soft. Geneticist David Reich at Harvard University has spent years mapping genetic changes in human populations over the last 10,000 years. His research, published in 2018, documented something that challenges the popular narrative about human diversity as global mobility increases, as populations mix more than ever before, as geographic isolation that maintained distinct population differences for thousands of years dissolves. The genetic differences between populations are predicted to decrease. Not because any population disappears, because genetic mixing distributes traits more evenly. Skin pigmentation variants, eye color variants, hair texture variants, all the visible differences that we have spent enormous human energy categorizing and assigning meaning to are predicted to become more blended across the global population over the next 10,000 years. The diversity we see in populations today reflects geographic isolation that is ending, but there is a third force, the one that is hardest to predict and potentially the most significant. Neuroscientist David Eagleman at Stanford University has written and researched extensively on the relationship between technology and the brain. His central argument is precise and uncomfortable. The human brain is not fixed. It is a plastic organ that reorganizes itself in response to the inputs it regularly receives. The brains of medieval humans who never read or wrote were organized differently from yours. The brain regions associated with literacy repurposed existing neural territory to handle reading and writing when those skills became common. The brain of someone who grew up with a smartphone from age 2 is organizing itself differently from the brain of someone who did not. We are creating new inputs at a pace far faster than evolution can track, and the brain is reorganizing in response, in ways we are only beginning to document. What 10,000 years of those inputs produce? Nobody currently knows. What we do know is this. The human of 10,000 years from now will not be the result of one force acting alone. It will be the result of 3 forces acting simultaneously and interacting unpredictably. Natural selection still operating, still finding variants that handle new pressures better, still slowly accumulating changes across generations. Technology accelerating and directing biological change in ways that bypass natural selection entirely. And the brain reorganizing itself in response to the environment we are creating, faster than any previous generation has created one. Anthropologist Ian Tattersall at the American Museum of Natural History has argued something precise about this. The thing that makes humans unique is not our intelligence, not our language, not our technology. It is our capacity to create environments that then reshape us. We build the world builds us back. And we have never built a world as fast or as comprehensively as we are building right now, which means we have never been reshaped as fast as we are being reshaped right now. The human 10,000 years from now will look at the genome we carry today, the way we look at the genome of someone who lived before agriculture, recognizably similar, measurably different, carrying the record of every pressure, every environment, every technology, every choice that accumulated between their moment and ours. They will be able to read in their own biology the history of what happened here, what we ate, what diseases we survived, what environments we created, what technologies we merged with, what we chose to keep, what we chose to change, all of it written into them, the way our history is written into us. They will not know what we looked like, not precisely, not the way we picture them, but they will know what we did because they will be living inside the consequences.